Hello, Scorpios, and welcome to this, your March 15th through March 31st reading and predictions. For those of you who are new here, thank you so much for trusting and clicking on this video. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. Kindly watch this video all the way until the end. There are two reasons for this. First and foremost, I do have a feature at the end of all of my readings where I help you to answer your yes no questions. All of us ask questions almost every day saying, I just need to go which way to go. Is it yes or is it no? So at the end of this video, I will be pulling a card that will have either a yes or a no on it. Get your questions prepared. But the other reason that I'm also asking you to watch all the way through until the end is because I'm this close to being monetized. I have been on this platform for well over 2 years, posting videos like this one, and I am not monetized yet. I still need a number of watch hours. So if you wouldn't mind helping me out, Scorpio, by watching the entire video all the way till the end and subscribing, maybe even putting a like on there if it resonates. Okay, Scorpios, let's get started. In your last reading, I am just pulling up my notes here. You had 2 7s that came up as well as 4 8s, indicating that there may have been something big coming up for you on the 7th or the 8th of March. If this is the case, can you put a comment down below and let me know? I'd love to know if 7 and 8s were prominent for you during the first half of the month. Now, also in your reading, there was a request of you from the cards for you to go all in. Like, go all in, walk away from somebody who was challenging your decisions and questioning whether, oh, are you sure you know what you're doing? And then finally, at the end of your reading, the very last card that came up for your reading was the Star. One of the happiest cards in the deck, Scorpio. Come on. How much more luck can you get than that one? Did that pan out for you? Again, put some comments down below. I'd love to hear. Let's get started with your reading. We are going to get started with where you are at now. Let's see. Any more 7s and 8s coming up for you? Any more things that you need to walk away from, or are you fully into the energy of the Star now? Oh, well, we have the Courage card coming out. All right, we've got two cards that have jumped out. You have the card that's called the Suppression card. This card corresponds to the 10 of Wands, and you have the Courage card coming out here. So, the Suppression card or the 10 of Wands card is a card of feeling like you're burdened, feeling like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, feeling like you're all tied up in knots and you're unable to get yourself out of a situation. One of the best ways that we can get ourselves out of this situation is to recognize that we may be carrying around someone else's burden. It's not ours. And when we recognize this, we're able to put the onus back on them. But it takes courage for us to be able to do that. You'll notice here that we've got a seed that has fallen down between two cracks, barely getting any light, not getting much water. And yet, from that seed, it still had the courage to find a little crack, come up, and become a beautiful flower. And sometimes it may seem like in our own lives, we are having to have as much courage as this little seed did in order to be able to allow ourselves to bloom and come out. And how do we do that? We have the courage to ask for help when we feel like we're being burdened and feel like we have too much going on, but also when we have the courage to walk away from something that's no longer serving our highest good, or walk away from a possible burden that's not ours. So watch for that, Scorpio. Take a good look at what you are currently experiencing. And if what you are currently experiencing is you're carrying around somebody else's stuff for them, put it back on them. That's theirs. You know, if somebody is Um, so let's just look at an example where somebody feels like their life is falling apart, but it's somehow your fault. Somebody lost their job. Oh, I can't believe that you did this to me. You abandoned me when I lost my job. No, I was in the hospital giving birth. I didn't abandon you. This is the type of burdens that I'm talking about where someone is feeling like you have done something wrong when all you were doing was going about your life. You weren't avoiding them. Okay. When that kind of stuff comes up, make sure that you have really good, solid boundaries, Scorpio. And that is part of what you were being shown in the last reading that we did for you, where you were being called to walk away from somebody who is questioning your decisions and your choices. You know, if you're, you know, if your baby brother, who you're really close to and always have been, and he's getting married on Saturday, but your friend phones you at 5 to 9 going, "Oh, my boyfriend dumped me last night and I need you." And you say, "I'm sorry, but my baby brother is getting married today. You knew that this was happening." And then they turn that around somehow on you, Scorpio, and they blame you. That's not a friend. And that's the type of stuff that we're talking about here, where we've taken on somebody else's burden. Okay. Have clear boundaries, have the courage, say no. Let's move into what you are focusing on for the latter half of March. Oh, geez. Seems like you have a lot that you're focusing on, Scorpio. We've got 4 cards that have come out here. Let me collect them all up. What is that? Ace of Swords. I like aces coming out. Ooh, okay. I'm kind of laughing and smiling to myself a little bit here. Scorpio, remember what I said this card corresponds to? Corresponds to the 10 of Wands. You have the 10 of Wands again. This is the exact same card, exact same energy of what I just went into here. It feels like you are carrying a burden around. You're not. Take a good hard look at what you think you are carrying around. And if it isn't 100% somebody else's, maybe you could ask for some help. Okay. But there's definitely burden coming up twice for you. And then we have 2 major arcana cards and an ace coming up. As I mentioned, you have the Ace of Swords coming up. Ace of Swords is about new beginnings, new ideas. But these new beginnings and new ideas are coming from a place of intellect and a place of mind. Okay. So this is an indication that you are headed down a spiral staircase or up a spiral staircase, and you are discovering new things, new strengths about yourself, new beliefs in yourself, Scorpio. This might also indicate like a new beginning, a new idea for a new business. But yeah, I think that because this is next to the 10 of Wands and you also have the 10 of Wands coming up here, I think that this is you becoming intellectually aware of what burdens are yours and what burdens someone else is trying to get you to carry because they don't want to have to be responsible or authentic or accountable. You have the Empress coming out. Now, the Empress coming out right next to the Ace of Swords is also a really, really amazing combination in the tarot. And here's why. Aces are all about new beginnings, as I already mentioned, new realizations when the Ace of Swords comes up, because this is a new realization that, hey, like, that's not my stuff to carry around. That's not my burden. New beginnings, because when you can slough off either your own burdens or someone else's burdens, then you can move into places of new ideas. And that's what this Empress is about. You'll notice that the Empress is depicted as a goddess who is pregnant. In other words, this is her world, this is her ideas, and she is on the verge of giving birth to them and bringing them to life. This is what you're focusing on, Scorpio. You are focusing on bringing something new to life. And I think it's new dynamics to your friends and your family relationships, your interconnected relationships, whether those be with a romantic partner, whether it be with a BFF, or whether it is with a just a family member, not just a family member, you know what I'm saying. Um, you are coming into your own power and you are birthing out a new dynamic in your relationships, one where you will be more empowered. And the final card that you have is the card that left off your last reading. Your last reading left off with the star, and you have the star coming out in your reading again. This card is a reminder to all of you that you are a star and the stars are shining down on you. And this is a blessing. Perhaps some of you also associate yourselves with being star seeds. This is your reminder that you are so much more than just a skin suit. Humans are so much more. We've been led to believe that we're not, but we are. And you're waking up to that right now, Scorpio. And it's beautiful because you're gaining new boundaries. You are forcing people to be responsible and accountable to themselves rather than putting their burdens on you. And you, in return, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a card or two that comes up that speaks to karma. You as well are being more accountable to yourself and more responsible to yourself and looking at your own burdens and making sure that you're not putting your burdens on someone else. And in so doing, you move into this new energy, this extremely positive energy here. Let's move into your difficult influences. And if I do start to lose my voice partway through this reading, I am parked in a farmer's field almost, and he just went by on an extremely windy day spraying his toxic pesticides and herbicides everywhere. So, yeah, I'm getting a bit of a sore throat. I do apologize, Scorpio, but I will get through this reading for you. Okay. Difficult influences and challenges for Scorpio. Three of Swords. Three of Swords is out, and there is also a card face down. I can't see what it is. What do we have? Five of Wands. Okay. It's funny because this is your difficult influences and challenges, and sometimes the difficult influences and challenges are really positive cards like this, and you're going, why did those come up in a challenging position? But instead, you have cards that already have a slightly negative connotation to them, and they came up in your difficult influences. So you have the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is almost always depicted as three swords or knives being stabbed through a heart, indicating that there is something emotional that you need to let go of. And chances are, Scorpio, the emotional stuff that you have to get rid of is your attachment to this friend or family member or even romantic partner who is literally being a burden to you. It's emotional to have to put up boundaries. Boundaries are hard. But when we do that, it's empowering to us. But we do have to first let go of our emotional attachment to that. And then you have the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is a card indicating that we feel like we're having to climb up a ladder, like life is a little bit of work, like someone is challenging every single decision that we are making. Look at the characters on the card. It's five witches. They are standing around their cauldron, and instead of paying attention to what's going on in the cauldron, they are arguing amongst themselves. They're questioning each other's motives. Are you sure you want to do that? Oh my gosh, that idea that you are looking at birthing out into the world, are you sure you want to do that? Now, when you get fully empowered and excited and you step into the energy of this star that you've had twice now in the month of March, when you step up and step into that, when you step into the energy of the Empress here, when you step into the energy of this Ace of Swords, you're going to recognize that those who doubt you, those who would rather question your sanity about the decisions you're making, they don't really belong. But again, this comes down to boundaries, Scorpio. You have to have firm boundaries in order to be able to step up and step into this positivity that came up here that you're focusing on. Let's take a look at messages the universe wants you to hear at this time. That one really jumped out. Okay. All right. Let's take a look, Scorpio. All right. So the first card that came out was Everyone Has Value. Yes, everyone does have value. But the caveat to this card is if they think that their value is more than yours rather than you guys being equals, that's a problem. Okay. But everyone does have value. So just keep that in mind. Feel joy in all that you do, Scorpio. Absolutely. This is about living in the present moment, not living in the future, not living in the past. This is about embracing where you are at. And here's the thing. This is coming in as a download. I'm kind of excited about this download that just came in. Many of us, when we are experiencing something negative or something hard, we're having to put up boundaries where we're having to say to somebody, that's your stuff. You keep your stuff. That's your burdens to bury or carry. And I'm not participating anymore. And we've got those boundaries. That's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. And so some of us want to escape from being in that present moment. And there's all forms of escapism, of course. There are our screen, ranging from our screens and video games to, potentially taking too much of a certain substance and so on and so forth. There's all manner of escapisms when we are feeling something that is uncomfortable. But this download came in for me, Scorpio, and here it is. The sooner that you stay in the present moment and recognize the joy in every situation, including those that make you squirm, that make you uncomfortable, the sooner you can move out of those uncomfortable situations. You prolong difficult emotions the more you practice avoidance. Let that sink in for a minute. The more you practice avoidance, the longer you prolong what you are trying to avoid. Live in the present moment. Feel joy. Feel gratitude for the experience because you're learning and growing. We learn and grow more from our uncomfortable experiences than we do from our experiences. And finally, express your feelings. This is an important card when you are at that point where you have boundaries that you need to put up and say no more. That's yours. I'll take what's mine. That's yours. Express your feelings. Don't be afraid to do that. All right, let's move into your unexpected. Oh, unexpected. Okay, we have two cards that have come out for unexpected. The first one that came out is the Page of Swords. And the second card that came out is the Nine of Cups. All right, so the Page of Swords, how it's going to play into the rest of your reading here. The Page of Swords is a character who is a little bit naive. He tends to be a little bit impulsive. Again, he comes from the place of mind or intellect, not from a place of emotion. And therefore, when the Page of Swords is taking action in our lives, it can sometimes um, be in a rushed manner that it may seem like we're jumping the gun to others. Okay. But it is about, moving forward on an intellectual idea and in a very logical way, but perhaps doing so without having all of the answers just yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then you have the Nine of Cups. Now, remember what I said when you got the star at the end of your last reading that covered the time frame March 1st to March 15th? And I will say it again. The star is considered one of the happiest cards in the deck alongside the sun and alongside one other card, the Nine of Cups. And in fact, I will just read what it says. Upright, this card is the best pip card in the entire deck, sometimes called the wish card, and indicates great joy and happiness. How do you like dem apples, Scorpios? This is a card of contentment. This is a card of, I have achieved what I wanted to achieve. Now, speaking about boundaries, it's uncomfortable having to put up boundaries, having to tell someone, yeah. Yet, this card in your unexpected is saying that it will likely be received better than you anticipated. There's a chance that you lay awake in bed at night going, oh, oh, I have to do this thing. I have to put up my boundaries. I have to do better. I have to not take on someone else's burdens. And they're going to be so mad and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And yet you got a happy card in your outcome, indicating that it's probably going to be received better than you think. I don't want to use that example. Oh, here we go again. My guides are telling me to use an example. Please don't take this the wrong way, Scorpios. If you live in a household and you have a pet, a dog specifically, but cats less so, and you have a disciplinarian in the family, the person that feeds the dog, but also makes the dog sit, makes the dog go lie down, takes the dog out for walks. But when they do take the dog out for a walk, they keep the dog on the lead and, they are the disciplinarian. And I'm not talking about being mean or nasty to the dog, but they're the ones that train the dog for good behavior. And then the dog is rewarded for that behavior. And then you have another member of the family who plays with the dog all the time, lets the dog do whatever it wants all the time. And oftentimes the dog is getting into trouble after being with that person. Who do you think the dog actually respects more? And there's actually been scientific studies done that the dogs will actually respect and come to the disciplinarian, the person that had boundaries for them and set up a framework for them. They will appreciate that person more than the person that let them go all willy-nilly. So keep that in mind because that's the sense that I'm getting here with your reading, Scorpio, with this person that you're going to have to set some boundaries with. They may actually respect you more once you've set those boundaries. Alrighty, where are we going for your final general overall outcome? We are going back over here to the tarot. Final general overall outcome, and then we're going to get to your yes/no question. All right. Your final general overall outcome. You have the Ten of Swords, but you also have the Queen of Pentacles. The Ten of Swords is um, about the beginning of the end of a period of trials and tribulations. It's recognizing and acknowledging what you've been through this month, that it is hard to go through what you've just gone through, but it is also recognizing the end of it. And it is time to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on because you have the Queen of Pentacles here. Queen of Pentacles is the richest queen in the deck. She is the queen that brings financial abundance as well as abundance in general. That means acknowledging the roofs over our heads, the food on our table, the beauty that surrounds us almost every day that Mother Earth provides for us. She is just a beautiful queen. She is very practical in her financial dealings. She's not going out and being frivolous, but she got to where she is because she is respected for the work that she does. What did I say? You may very well be more respected for speaking your truth, Scorpio, than for not. I'm going to leave your reading off there and we're going to move into your yes no question. Again, if this video resonated deeply for you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. I do need a couple more subscribers for monetization, so it would be greatly appreciated. Now, yes, no question. You may wish to close your eyes and ask your question several times in your mind. You may wish to ask it out loud. And Scorpios, we need a yes or no for Scorpios cards. We're just going to shuffle until we have one card that leaps out for us. It's going to be that card, I can tell. Yeah, it didn't actually leap out, but it kept turning sideways twice. All right. In response to your yes, no question, Scorpio, your answer is yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Please allow me the honor of doing your next reading for you come the beginning of April.